Hello everybody, getting ready to start lesson 3.3 for pre-algebra math part 1. And today we have a 30-point skill sheet for classwork today. And then we have a 4-point notebook guide available here. Solving equations with variables on both sides. Here are our standards, multi-step equations and inequalities is chapter 3. Today's bell work, teachers, we have, again, it looks like we're going to solve for x here in both these expressions. Give your students 5 minutes to solve for x, or 4 minutes, something like that. Okay, welcome back for our solutions here. Here is number 1, x equals 7. Once you divide through by 7, and then number 2, divide through by -1, you end up with a negative x on the left side. Divide through by -1, x equals 1. Okay, into our lesson here. You solve two-step equations. You will solve equations with variables on both sides. The Spanish Club is arranging a trip to a Mexican restaurant in a nearby city. Students, this is your notebook, page 2, lesson 3.3. Those who go must share the $60 cost of using the school bus. The restaurant's buffet costs $5 per person. How many students must sign up for this trip in order to limit the cost to $10 per student? How would you solve that? Okay, we've got another notebook slide here, page 3. This goes in your notebook, students. Every equation in this lesson has variables on both sides of the equation. You can solve such an equation by getting the variable terms on one side of the equation and the constant terms on the other. So let's do that here. So for our Spanish Club right here, solve 7n minus 5 equals 10n plus 13. This will be a practice here for our word problem. So we have a variable here and a variable here. So how do we solve for n? Well, we got to move negative 7n over on this side here. We're going to subtract 7n here, subtract 7n from our there. That's going to give us negative 5 equals 3n plus 13. And then we're going to subtract 13. Now we're going to isolate our 3n on the right side here. We have negative 18 equals 3n. What would n equal? Divide through by 3, and we get n equals negative 6. Do we check? No, well, we could check. Solution is negative 6. We're going to say, hey, solution is negative 6. Okay, let's solve this equation here. We got variables on both sides. Students, you got the same thing here for your independent practice. Let's do our this now. So here's our equation. Here's our solution here. So we're going to subtract m from this side and subtract it from this side here. We end up with this. Then we're going to move our negative 15 over to the other side. Then we have negative 16 equals 8n. Divide through by 8. We have negative 2 equals m for the solution of that one there. Here is our check for that. It checks out. Yeah, here's our negative 2. This is our plug-in. This is our solution. And that's why it checks out. We plug that in for here, up here. And then we put it in up here. We use the original here. Go from the original. So we got a negative there as well. Okay, example 2, writing and solving an equation. How many students must sign up for the trip? So we go back to our original question and let S represent number of students. Write a verbal model. Here's our verbal model here. Cost per student times number of students equals cost of buffet times number of students plus cost of school bus. So what does that come out with actual numbers when we plug in? 10s equals 5s plus 60. So we're going to solve for s. So how we're going to do this, we're going to move our s over here. So we're going to subtract 5s from both sides. 5s equals 60. The 60 is isolated. 5s equals 60. Divide through by 5. And we get s equals 12. So we need 12 students to go on a trip for the student to pay out. Okay, our next guided practice here. We don't have an independent practice, so everybody will do this. And this will count as your example 2 in-class work. So we're going to solve this together. You spend $60 on clothes and buy 3 DVD movies. Your friend spends nothing on clothes and buys 8 DVDs. You both spend the same amount of money. All the DVDs cost the same amount. How much does each DVD cost? So you spend 60 and your friend spends the same amount. Okay, so what we have here, cost of DVD, here's our verbal model here, your cost of clothes plus number of your DVDs, times cost of a DVD equals friend's cost plus number of friend's DVDs times the cost of a DVD. So we know 60 here, $60, your cost of clothes plus number of DVDs plus 3x equals 0 plus 8x here. So your friend spends the same amount of money as you, remember? Okay, so we solve this here. So we get rid of our 3x and put it over here. We have 60 equals 5x, 8x minus 3x. Divide through by 5, then we get x equals 12. Each DVD then would cost $12. In that situation, and that is part 1 of lesson 3.3. Part 2 and part 3 are available here, as well as worksheets, tests, tutoring, quizzes, and solution PowerPoints for the skill checks. Thank you.